welcome to my latest experiment. This is the big one, the one I've been waiting for all my life.
What is it?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Oh my God.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
And there is no one that does it better.
The Guy and Harley podcast, streaming all over your face.
Perhaps that was the most important part.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Pigville on the internet. Tears of joy when I opened the door as rain poured from the dark sky. I held you close. I realized what I needed the most, and God knows, how could something last so long and be gone in an instant? I wish that you could just stay, be strong. With every moment you're gone, I'm losing my breath. I can't lose the only person I have left.
Sounds like a bloody street song.
I'm Harley Neville, and that was the Moog, Everything I Was.
Feel like there's a bit of a trend going on in your lyric selection.
Yeah. Well, you might be right there.
Seem all to be connected.
You think there's something?
Thematically connected.
Thematically right. Well, I'm Harley Neville. This is the Guy and Harley podcast.
And I'm Guy Pigden.
Yes, well, straight into it. I mean, Operation Flying Sparrow, picking up from last week, right?
Yeah. What happened?
So last week, at the end of the show, it was the day before the love of my life, Angie, was flying into Auckland.
It was the day before D-Day.
Yeah, so to speak.
Yeah.
Well, that was what I was hoping, at least. But yeah, so she was flying into Auckland to be here for about 5 nights or so. And she broke up with me a couple of months ago, my girlfriend of more than 5 years. I was planning to move to LA to be with her, uproot my life and go over there. And she recently broke up with me. And so Operation Flying Sparrow was intercepting her while she passed through Auckland on her way to Queenstown. And look, Operation Flying Sparrow was a success. My electro light bulb totally impressed Angie. She was very impressed by that.
I would be too.
She touched it. It made the little buzzing noise, and you
saw little lights touch your fingertips.
Touch her finger. Yep. Yeah. So my electro bulb totally impressed her. Yeah. I've won her back, and we're back together.
The end.
No, of course that's not the case. But look, I did get the closure that I needed, okay? It was...
So wait. So the opposite?
Yeah, so she's not... We're not back together. That sparrow has flown.
That sparrow has flown the nest.
But, it was still very lovely to see her. I got the closure I needed, and it was beautiful to be able to hold her again and say all the things that I needed to. And it's over now, and I accept that. The sparrow has flown. But we had a magical few nights together, and it was amazing to see her, and I cried a lot, and I probably haven't finished crying, and I am truly under her spell, but our lives are taking us in different directions at the moment. So Operation Flying Sparrow has been deauthorized.
It's been deauthorized and declassified.
Yeah. Which means that the current live active operations are Operation Befriend Dominic Hoey, Operation Go Pro, and Operation Get Laid.
Operation Tinder.
Well, maybe that's what we'll call it, Operation Tinder. No, I am kidding about the Operation Get Laid. It's not really, I don't really care that much yet. I mean, I do remember those ICP lyrics from a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
They do come to mind.
They do come to your mind quite often.
No, so look, not really Operation Get Laid. But that being said,
you are taking, what is it? Expressions of interest.
Form an orderly queue.
Yep.
I'll get to each of you in turn.
Yeah.
Sometimes two at a time.
So expressions of interest can be made to the Kind Harley podcast page. They can be put in the comment section, and Harley will get to you in due course.
No, look. But look. I'll tell you the truth, though. I tell you the truth. I just tonight put in an excellent entry to be on a reality TV show. Yeah, First Dates. Yeah. It's filming in.
I've seen the ads for that.
Yeah. It's filming in September if I get it, and what happens is I go on a blind date at the Sky Tower in the city, and they film it, and it's like sometimes it's awkward and sometimes it's not, and whatever, and they kind of just, they do all the reality TV drama editing, to make it more dramatic and add, all that stuff. But I'm excited.
Well, I think that you might get that.
Yeah, well,
You've got a good story.
Yeah.
You've got a good story. You're an outgoing guy. Now, my question about that is baldism going to come into play?
Well, it could.
And I don't mean by you're not being selected, because I think you'll be selected, but I mean by the selection they make for you.
Oh, as in they'll pair me up with an Ugmo, because they'll be like, well, short bald guy, pair him up with this ugly chick,
exactly,
with this freakishly tall fat girl.
He's got no hair, so he's completely average. Let's pair him up with the most average disgusto we can find.
Well,
and that's what's going to happen. Or are they going to be like do the reverse?
Put me with the real hot girl.
Yeah, because they'll be like, oh my god, this will be hilarious. Because they'll walk in and he'll be bald, and she'll be like, why am I here? I don't date people with no hair. Yeah, baldism. Will it come into play?
It certainly could, but I feel like I've taken measures to mitigate that.
Oh yeah, what
are they? You see, when shooting my application video, I lifted a line from my stand-up comedy, which was I was sort of talking about myself and my situation and what I would be looking for in a woman and all of this stuff, which is what they ask you to make a video about. And while doing that, I said that physically, when women describe me, they often say I'm like a cross between Tom Cruise and Vin Diesel, because I'm short and bald. And at that point, I took my hat off, revealing the baldness.
Good stuff. Yeah, good moment.
Exactly. I made it work. And also on top of that, I had the lighting kind of nice, so my sparkly blues really popped. I feel like they might help.
The lighting right.
They might help outweigh the baldism. You know?
Right. I see.
Yeah. So, and then on top of that as well, because I considered for my sort of primary picture, I considered putting a very funny one. I have, which is the one where I'm dressed up. It's a selfie, and I'm all dressed up, and I'm wearing a suit. But in the background, there's a mirror, and you can see that I've actually got no pants on. You can see my ass, and I thought that would be a funny picture because they asked for a picture of my face. But I was like, no, I don't look very attractive in that one. I better go for I don't want them to look at me and go, let's pair up this 45-year-old man with the 45-year-old woman. I want them to be like, oh, he's a hip young dude. Let's pair him up with the hip young ladies, Well,
the other thing you have on your side is women in their 30s. Their choices really have diminished greatly. And so they really will be willing to settle for anything at a certain point.
Well,
the clock's ticking for them. The clock's not ticking for you.
Well, it's still ticking. It's just ticking slower.
It is ticking slower.
But Emmy's angry. Emmy's angry right now. She's a woman in her 30s.
Yeah.
She's angry at you. She's definitely angry at us again.
She's angry at us again.
You are a bad man.
What? I'm just saying. All I can say is this, that the beautiful woman...
I honestly, I highly recommend you stop talking.
...that I could hook up with who are under 30 is considerably, substantially much less than beautiful women over 30. Now, why do you think that is? Because there's no real difference You know,
you're saying that you've got more luck with beautiful women over 30.
I think so.
Than with beautiful women under 30.
Absolutely.
And you attribute that to their diminishing
yes,
standards.
That's correct.
Right.
I attribute it to that because otherwise it would have all been happening in my 20s.
Yeah.
In my late 20s.
Maybe, yeah.
So, that's just simple maths. And he's rolling around,
seething,
spinning on the.
She's
spinning
seething
like a top.
Yeah, well, so I put a young, hip-looking picture for my main one anyway. But yes, anyway, so that would be very exciting. And look, I know I just said, I know that. I mean, see, here's the thing: I dropped Angie at the airport this morning, and I just put in my application tonight, right? And I know I just said that I love Angie, and that but the thing is that I'm actually I warned her, I told her. Yeah, because I'm a little more clinical than all of that, you see. So primary goal of getting on the show obviously isn't getting laid. No. Because I could do that a lot less publicly, probably. If that was the goal, you wouldn't want to do it so
with
publicly.
A lot less humiliation.
Potential humiliation, because I might make an absolute ball bag of myself.
Or also just they're going to cut you. Like, there is no doubt that the Nevs is going to be cut like a total ball bag.
I'm like, hey, it's the
Nevs. Yeah. Like, they are really going to make you look terrible. And probably what they'll do is they'll you'll be making jokes and stuff which she's laughing at, and then they'll just cut to her laugh, crickets in the background, and everyone's like, "Oh, this guy's dying. He's such a loser."
Yeah.
Look, that's unfortunately what you're signing up for there.
Well, it could certainly happen. It could certainly happen. Depends how it all comes across, really. But no, look, the reason why I want to get on, obviously, is having a reality TV credit was going to look great on my IMDb. And presumably, it's going to get a good time slot, which means the cult of Harley. Yeah, exactly, right? And I watched it. I watched 4...
You might even get you would probably be interviewed by The Edge.
Oh, fucking, I better.
At some point.
I wish.
Harley in the studio.
From First Date.
Tell us about your first date experience, man. Hey.
Well,
Jesus.
Trust me, I'll be calling up people and using that in order to get publicity. I'll be calling The Edge and being like, it's Harley here from First Date. You want to have a chat? Yeah. But so anyway, what it all means is that if it gets a good slot, right, that means the cult of Harley Neville is just beaming directly into the eyeballs of potentially hundreds of thousands of people, and who knows what that could lead to. And the worst case scenario, I make a fool of myself and it's just another hilarious scene in the big Facebook movie.
That's what that is taking place at all times.
Yeah, because all of these harebrained adventures are essentially just their own standalone scenes in the big Facebook movie. Because the Facebook is the spine of it all, Well,
speaking of the big Facebook movie, got a little bit of beef. I made a hilarious joke to add to your Facebook movie. Got de-tagged.
Yeah, well...
De-tagged.
Yeah.
Let's give a bit of context to that one.
Well, let's not, because obviously I detailed it because I don't want to talk about it.
Well, why not?
What are you up to?
Now, this is a joke. This is clearly a joke.
Now, yeah, but it's no good for me, that joke. And so, worst case,
you know what? We're not gonna talk about that.
No.
Really hurt your feelings on that one?
No, it's more unprofessional than anything.
But of all the things that you put on your Facebook,
okay,
you don't think that is just on par of some silliness?
No. Okay, so what happened here is unfortunately now we have to talk about that.
Yeah, of course. It's a podcast.
Is Guy posted a status saying that I'm a marijuana addict and that.
The tears already.
and tagged me in it and all this stuff, and it's like, okay, we've got a meeting on Friday with fucking producers and shit, and then it's not like me sharing a legalized cannabis thing, which is one thing. This is Guy posting some status and a photo of a marijuana helpline, and it's like, oh, come on, well, Why? What makes you think that painting me, say for example, painting me as an alcoholic publicly is not really good for what I'm trying to create, or as far as my professional side? And we have a meeting in 2 days with like, you know, people that are potentially funding us, and then, you know, guys yelling on Facebook, tagging me in front of literally thousands of people, saying that, you know, essentially like saying like I'm an alcoholic, but he's saying I'm addicted to weed. I'm a pothead.
Oh my god. Okay, but look, I will just like,
but also it wasn't like I was like, what a hilarious gag. I wasn't like wow, what a like funny burn or something like that. I was like, man, it's just kind of mean and jerky.
Oh, come on.
It's just kind of douchey.
Come on.
Just a bit douchey.
That is ridiculous.
No, I was like, classic guy on the autism spectrum. He has no idea how to deal with other humans. He's got no idea.
Well, for those who are interested, because I would love to put, I think this is a good one to put to the podcast listeners of whether I overstepped the line here. Because to me, it was completely tongue in cheek. I put the smiley faces.
I don't deny that, but we've got to talk about what it looks like from all the other people that are looking. Guess anyone, everyone that pops it up, it all pops up, and it's like my friend Harley Neville tagged needs to use the pot helpline because he smokes too much weed. And then didn't you say?
I said something about the orderlies coming to pick him up later this morning. But that's what
and then it goes, and then he had a picture of this pot helpline, like as in like a phone number and all that for people whose life is being ruined by marijuana. And then he put hashtag addiction.
Yeah, I did put hashtag addiction.
Hashtag addiction.
It was so silly. Like, this is from my point of view, this was like at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Well, there you go. That's the first indication that you should probably not be Facebooking.
And I was waiting for something to load on my computer because I had been working all night on visual effects stuff for Older. And basically, I was just scrolling through my Facebook feed, and this ad came up for pot addiction, which was hilarious that this was one of my ads, but it was just, to me, kind of a hilarious ad. And and then I immediately thought of Harley. And so I did the little screen grab of the ad and just tagged him. And I wasn't like, Harley's got a serious problem and I'm intervening, and here is the helpline that he'll be using, and there's some people coming to take him away. I was like, you know, kind of just silly and much like very ridiculous. And so for me, I was like, that's what you would take it as. Anyone that reading that wouldn't be like, oh, Harley's a massive stoner. They'd be like, oh, that's a funny thing to suggest that your friend is a massive stoner and that some orderlies, he's such a stoner that orderlies will have to come and take him away. That was my thinking.
Right.
You didn't take it that way. You did not take it that way.
No, I decided to remove that one from my timeline.
Did not take it that way. Decided that wasn't happening. So, but let's let the
listeners decide.
The Sifty 150. If you guys could look at that post, it's on my Facebook timeline. Can we put it in the comments section of the Guy and Harley podcast? Or can we do that?
Yeah, well, you can just post it up there, mate. You just post it up there.
Oh, yes.
We just share it. I can just share it. I think I can just share your status directly onto the Facebook page. So I'll do that. So what we'll do is we'll share Guy's status on facebook.com/Guy and Harley.
Did I cross the line? But to me, this only harkens back. Also, I will only say that the only reason that I even thought of you for that thing is because you've just recently moved next door to me. You were at the back of the house. Yeah. You've now progressed to the nice room at the front of the house. And I walked, this was not longer than 24 hours after this move had been made. And lo and behold, as I stepped through the door from a hard night's work, I was blasted in the face by a massive inhalation of what I can only assume was the pot.
Now, listen.
Blasted in the face. I was high as I stumbled into my room from the secondhand smoke that I had inhaled in the 2 steps it took me to go past your door and into mine.
Now, look, I'm not saying
24 hours.
I'm not going to say that it was not marijuana, okay? It certainly could have been. But it also certainly could have been one of the many incense that I burn as well. I've got multiple incense, and you are not an expert on the smell of marijuana.
I'm not an expert.
You're exactly the type that would smell incense and go, "That's weed."
I mean, I don't think so, but let's use that as your excuse. But I was less than 24 hours. So that's why I end up thinking of that. But it also harkens back to the status that you posted about me, where you're like, holy shit, guy's got his debut wrestling, his wrestling debut. This is big. And no matter how uncool I may think or find it, this is a big deal. The most backhanded, the absolute most backhanded.
Yeah, I said no matter how fiercely uncool I might think.
Fiercely uncool.
It
is.
No matter
this is a big deal.
No, I go. I will always stand by him.
I always support him.
Yeah, I'll always support him.
So backhanded.
No, it was overall very positive. You know.
But
no,
yeah.
it's certainly no more backhanded than like your overt comments about my poetry and stuff like that. You know,
yeah.
The other day I posted on Facebook, "Who's ready for a gym selfie?"
Oh yeah.
Now look, I don't post gym selfies. This is like the first one probably ever. A guy was, everyone was like, "Yeah, go team, go you, body positive," you know, and then guy was like, "That's a resounding nope." Or something like that, you know, and it was like, the only negative comment I get, you know, discouraging me from taking a leap and putting my body out there on the internet, you know, and my best friend, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, well, look, we do both individually occasionally troll each other's Facebook pages. That's certainly true, but let the listeners weigh in.
Yeah, well, look. So the July, it's been a good July for me.
Has it been dry?
It has been a dry July, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Do you think I've been partying or something?
Well, I don't know. I feel like I've seen you have a beer or something.
No, not this month.
It's good. You just haven't really made a bunch of a big deal about it. I think you mentioned it before it was about to start.
Well, I just got too much going on at the moment. Like, you know, I got Operation Flying Sparrow. That was really occupying a lot of my headspace. I'm
Operation A-hole, as in your butt operation.
Yeah. Well, that's actually called Operation Get My Operation.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
And you know, and so I had that. So I had Neil deGrasse Tyson had me.
Yeah.
You know,
Operation Embarrass Yourself in front of Neil deGrasse Tyson. Operation Sully Yourself in front of your heroes.
Yeah, and you know, and then I was moving rooms and all this stuff, and there's just been a lot going on. Basically,
smoking a lot of weed.
It's just a lot going on. You know, a lot of things happening.
Yeah.
And so that's why I haven't really talked very much about Dry July yet. But I am doing Dry July, and if people want to sponsor me, I've raised $56. So it'd be good to at least make $100, really. But you know, every dollar counts. So if anyone wants to do that, you can go to dryjuly.co.nz and search for Harley Neville, or you can go facebook.com/Guy and Harley, and I'll share it there as well. And you can throw $1 my way. That money goes towards helping make life a little easier for people who are living with cancer. So don't be shy. And so yes, it's dry July. It's been good for me, right? So it's been a bit of a changing of the tides. It's been a time for me to come to terms with my new circumstances of being single. I'm sort of feeling like I've been quite depressed for this last 6 months. This, you know, first half of 2017.
It's a long time.
Yeah, the first half.
It's quite a long time to be depressed. Actually, half a fucking year.
Well, yeah. I mean, you combine like Angie leaving. Stuff going on with my mum and that dude, the psycho knife wielding maniac, having to move house a couple of times, you know, the operation on my ass, fucking all of it, you know, it all adds up. And so this feels like a fresh start for me. And so I've kind of come to terms with that a little bit more. Like seeing Angie really helped me come to terms with it. But yeah, I mean, when I was last single, you know, Tinder was for lighting fires, and the world has changed, and I have so many questions like, are hairy backs still not sexy? But this month's been so good. Bedrooms to a palatial bachelor pad up the other end of the other less mouldy end of the flat, and that was part of an operation that you guys didn't actually hear about. It was called Operation Barge On Over, and it was a surprise blitzkrieg operation to secure myself more Lebensraum, and it was a complete success.
More what?
Lebensraum.
What the hell's that?
That's it means living room, and it's part of Hitler's motivation for invading the Soviet Union in Operation Barbarossa. Lebensraum. So anyway, it's a fucking awesome room, and I'm happy and everything. So yeah, basically lots of shit's going really well. I'm skinnier and more muscly than I've been in years. I was under 74 kilos today. We graduated from the Hardy Hundy to the Sifty 150. That's something to celebrate. And soon we've got a meeting with these people who are going to hopefully commission us to make a web series for them. So it's all happening this July.
Well, I should just quickly mention, going back to another Facebook conversation, because you were just talking about moving rooms. So we have a new flatmate.
Yeah.
Don't really know anything about her.
No.
She doesn't really know anything about me.
No.
But let's just show you how Harley introduced the two of us.
Okay.
So this is, we have a flat group, a flat conversation.
On Facebook.
And our flatmate was like, hey, can we have a clear out of the freezer because, it barely closes, and she only's got 2 items in it. And Harley replied to that, as a classic Neville will, as he's wont to do. I have some stuff in there, but no rubbish. All of my stuff has an H on it. And the big issue is Guy's 50 half bags of old frozen vegetables, and whoever's 50-cent bags of old white bread can probably go 2.
Hey, it's all sound logic.
So then Lauren replied to that, and then I replied to Harley's reply, and I have 1.5 bags of frozen peas and my pre-made meals. Don't think anything else is mine. Actually, Neville, you fuck. But I'll double check. Go back to your nice new room, you ingrate.
Now, if you ask me, Kate's going to be, the new flatmate's going to be much more scared from that comment than from me suggesting you have some veggies in the freezer.
That's exactly my point. Then this is Harley's follow-up to that. I'm going to add Kate to this convo so she can see what a pleasant man Guy is. So then she was invited into the conversation. Before, it was just a conversation between the old flatmates. And so that is the first thing that she reads. And if I, this is a dialogue that's been established from 20 years of knowing each other. That's how it's been established that I can say these things.
Yeah.
And also, that's why it's okay. Because we've known each other for 20 years. Yes. And also, I know the tone that Harley, the condescending tone of what Harley's implying. Yeah, not my fault, but it's probably Guy's, of course, with all his fucking shit like usual.
You do have a history of leaving a lot of shit in the freezer, man. We've been living together for 16 years on and off.
That is realistically...
We moved in when we were 17.
That is quite accurate, but in this instance, I was not the guilty party.
Right.
But if... I just can't believe that you added her. And then if you read what I said...
Look, I had to add her to the conversation. It's the group, it's the flat conversation, and I had to bring her in. Because she was moving in. We're talking about Bond and shit.
Bring her in a bit later. Because, if I just read that and I didn't know any of these people...
Yeah, you'd think we had a big beef and we hated each other.
But not only that, you'd go, man... Guy's a real psycho. Real aggressive, real aggro issues. I'm actually legitimately quite scared of him, and I probably won't talk to him because I'm probably real worried.
Yeah.
Especially because of the way he'll respond to me.
Especially with the way you just walk around the house and your silence.
Well, that's the other thing too. Is so
your creepy, slow walking silence.
The only impression that she's got of me is this comment that Harley so rudely let her in on, and then the fact that I walk around the house at like 4 a.m. because I'm doing night shift or I'm up all night working. That's the only two things that she knows about me.
Yeah.
So she thinks that I'm a fucking nut. Good one, Harley. Bloody good one.
Yeah, well.
No tact there. Well, that was a stitch up. That was a setup. That was a blatant setup.
Come on.
That was a blatant.
Why would I want to do it on purpose?
That was a real.
The last thing I want in my flat is drama.
That was a stitch up job on me to make me look like a fucking lunatic.
You absolutely did that yourself.
I did it myself, but I wouldn't have been in context. It was fine. But yeah, so I just wanted to mention that.
Well, I have a bit of buyer's remorse.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I bought a shitty heater. It was like I was under Angie's spell at the time. She had just arrived and I couldn't possibly have my queen getting cold, you know, so yeah. Especially because she's just come from LA, so we went and bought a heater, but they didn't have a display model of this one, and it looked cool on the box, and it's got like a screen with flames that flicker on the screen and sort of
I like it. Yeah,
ornamental rocks that you can put in yourself, so it looks kind of like almost sort of got that fire vibe, which is cool, but the problem is it puts out fuck all heat and the remote doesn't work that well. And it's essentially like a tiny fan heater attached to a big ridiculous power guzzling screen that has like actual moving parts inside to create the flicker, and so I turn it on and I feel like I'm just wasting electricity.
All style and no substance.
And exactly. It really was, and I really only bought it because I was like, oh, I don't want Angie to be cold, you know. But I didn't need to buy that shit one, you know. I was taken away by how cool it looked, and it does look cool. It just doesn't work that well.
How much did it cost?
Well, it was $199.
Oh, Jesus!
Yeah, which is a huge. Like, I never go out and buy shit like that, really.
No,
like never. But it was like on the day, it was like I don't care at all about this money or this heater. I just don't want it to be cold in my room, you know, when she's here, because, you know, it's just not conducive to my goals. And so, yeah.
Well, what else has been going on?
Well, I forgot to mention that a wee while ago when I auditioned for Shortland Street, I didn't realise that I was missing a button from my shirt.
That's always good, isn't it?
Yeah, because it looked fine when I was standing up, and then so I went to the audition, and I was my role was my audition was a sitting down audition. Ooh. So I was sitting, and so I just did the scene, and it was fine. And then I went home and I sat in my chair, and I happened to look over into the mirror and see that my fucking just hairy belly was just like poking out of, you know, like you could just see it all. And there was like 3 people in the room, including this casting director, and I'm sure it was fucking distracting from my performance, you know.
Also, it's such a classic actor thing to do. Classic poor actor. Yeah. Like, pretend to come in good-looking clothes, but actually your clothes are real worn out and fucked. Yeah. And have some type of towel that reveals that. Yeah. Because you're actually too poor to have nice clothes. Yeah. So that was the impression that you gave. That should have brought in your heater. Yeah, should have, right? my pimping heater. Just carry it on my shoulder, guys, like a boombox. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that was good. Also, I got... oh, hang on. I just wanted to mention that I've started a new YouTube channel expressly for the Guy and Harley podcast. So I've uploaded 27 of 106 episodes, and I'm transferring them all over. I'm going to take them off the Pigville channel, clean up the Pigville channel, which is currently too cluttered with too much bullshit, and try and refine that and get it a bit better. So you go there, and the first thing you see is some of our best work, as opposed to, you know, heaps of podcasts and stuff. So so I'm transitioning over to the Guy and Harley podcast on YouTube. It's called the Guy and Harley podcast on YouTube. That's the name of the channel. So I'm going to share it on the Guy and Harley podcast Facebook page, facebook.com/Guy and Harley. But go and please search for it and hit subscribe, because that really helps us. And we can't monetize. They've changed the rules. We can't monetize until we reach 10,000 views, which is quite a lot of views. So, and we're quite a way away from that. Well, I've got 748 or something like that on those 27 episodes. Now, that's with 11 subscribers who are just... 4 of them are probably from my various accounts. 4 of them are you. Yeah, 4 of them are me, and the rest are, I think, Hardy Hundy, or it's 5150. And so... anyway, that's still pretty good. 750 odd views is not bad, but, you know, got to get that to that 10,000 anyway is the point before we can monetize. So please do go along and find that. So it does mean that I've uploaded, I will be uploading between like 150 and 200 hours of
of this footage.
There's a lot.
It is a lot. So
go on and subscribe. Take a trip down memory lane.
Yeah, so the first 27 are there now. So if you're looking to get caught up and go back to the very beginning, this is probably actually a pretty good way to do it. Just go there now. There's 27 episodes waiting for you. Yeah. So I got some feedback about your wrestling guy.
Oh, yes.
And it's just here somewhere. It's from Mark Cookson. Now, Mark Cookson is a television presenter. And he listens to the podcast, which is quite
surprising.
Cool. Maybe surprising, also quite cool.
Yep.
So, because it is kind of nice to have influential,
well-to-do types
listening. And so that's kind of great. So yes, he is listening, and he said here. He was obviously in attendance. He said, "Tell Guy I enjoyed his wrestling the other night in Mount Eden. Jobbed out, of course, but future NZ champ right there."
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I hope in about 5 years' time, if the old body hasn't given out, that's exactly what I'll be doing. Being New Zealand champ.
So now, is that your goal?
What
is it? A realistic?
What is
it
my
goal?
Ultimate goal
with the wrestling?
In wrestling.
What's your plan here?
Well,
what's your realistic but optimistic plan?
Well, okay, so I've got 3 goals.
Okay.
First goal: make a film about being a pro wrestler.
Now, this reminds me, I was going to pitch to you the idea that we need to get your mate who does your wrestling photos and get a Pigville wrestling photo of you and me dressed up as wrestlers. You just wear your gears, obviously, and I'm dressed up as well. And we're called the Pigville Tag Team, like you'll have your, you can still be, your mate Alex Savage will still be
my mate
there.
Alex Savage,
and
my associate.
And I can be like the Beast or something like that.
yeah. Savage and the Beast.
Yeah, Savage. Yeah.
That's quite good.
And then it'll be called. They'll call the duo. Obviously, the tag team will have to be called Pigville for the sake of social media. You know?
No, that's a good idea, actually.
Yeah. So I was thinking that could be our next photo shoot. After the nude photo shoot last time, we'll do a wrestling one this time. Especially because we're both fucking jacked at the moment.
Yeah.
Both been gymming hard.
We have been.
Yeah.
Got to get them gains.
Yeah.
It's all about them gains.
Guys eating special meals that are pre-weighed and pre-nutritionally valued and all that stuff, and he's weighing all his food and everything.
I mean, not all of it. But yes, I am.
Guy tonight was eating a measured helping of a chicken
breast,
chicken salad, right?
Yep.
Now, see, I as I mentioned earlier, I checked my weight today, and I was under 74 kilos for the first time in a very, very long time. But I'm musclier than I used to be, so I've gained muscle and lost fat, which is awesome.
Good.
And so to celebrate, I came home and stuffed my face full of bread. An hour before bedtime, I had for dinner 4 pieces of toast and a bun, a white bun,
and a white bun.
Yeah,
that's still better than Macca's, though, isn't it? So,
well, yeah, probably,
really, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
But I think that's the one thing that I've learned, because I'm sort of on a meal plan now, which is pretty loose, and I'm not 100% sticking to it. But it's basically I've got a little app that measures my fitness pal, which measures what I'm eating, so it can tell me how far on or off. And I have my slip ups and my cheats and all that sort of thing. But I guess what I found about it is that
I noticed the bag of chips that was on the shelf behind me have disappeared magically.
Well, to be honest, Shani foolishly forgot them. They're hers. She bought them.
Did you eat them?
And then she just left them.
Because I could go a chip.
Sorry, mate, I did eat them. Oh. That was, but I think that's the thing I've learned is that you can be on a pretty good diet and still have the odd bad thing here and there, and that's what I always sort of didn't do before. Is I go on some diet and then be like, oh fuck, I'm dying because I never have anything nice and I hate my life and I want to kill myself. But actually, the thing is, have one bad thing, but just have one bad thing and leave it at that. And then back on your good shit for the rest of that day,
Yeah.
So
no, yeah.
That's what I'm trying to employ, but
Well, we'll get back to your 3 goals in a second.
Oh, yeah, 3 goals.
Your 3 goals in a second. But I also just wanted to say that, you might recall that I was on the toast diet when I was losing weight for I survived a zombie holocaust.
It's so funny that you were on the toast diet.
Yeah.
Due mainly to porness.
It was to do with porness and lack of knowledge as well about diet.
Complete lack of knowledge and a complete and utter lack of knowledge about nutrition.
Yeah. So
you're like, I'm doing pretty good. I only had 4 pieces of toast for breakfast.
Yeah, well, so I was on the toast diet when I had to drop weight to be on I Survived a Zombie Holocaust because Guy wanted a skinny little dweeb, right? So I was like, okay. So I was just, I was on the toast diet, and it worked.
It did work.
It worked. That's the thing. But the thing is that
think how much skinnier you could have gotten.
Well, that too, but also like I'm sort of what works for me. It seems is I eat whatever I want whenever I want, but I just don't really seem to want stuff too often. And when I do eat, I don't eat big meals, and I don't eat a lot of like shitty stuff, like real sugary or super fatty things. I just kind of eat something and then move on, And so I think I'm lucky because I don't take big meal sizes, and I don't actually eat that much.
You
per
don't
day.
have those super junk food cravings.
No, not too bad. Like every now and then, of course, I have a blowout, but not too bad. But yes, anyway, that seems to be working for me. But your 3 goals.
Yes, that was the first goal, and that was the goal to begin with. Was to make this wrestling movie, and so to prepare myself to be in that movie and be convincing in that role. And I'm really excited about that movie. I'm really looking forward to trying to make that.
Yeah.
Could it be the next one?
In the movie, Guy and I are a tag team.
Yes.
So that would be pretty. I mean, it would be pretty epic.
It would be, and there's a lot of good stuff in there, I reckon.
It's about a New Zealand tag team trying to make it in the big time.
Yeah, it's like, in fact, I don't want to give too much away, but in fact, they're put together. They don't really like each other to begin with.
Just like Will Ferrell and Napoleon Dynamite in that shitty ice skating movie.
Yeah, but then they kind of get over by being so different.
Yeah, like in that Will Ferrell movie about the shitty ice cream.
Shut the fuck up, Harley.
The ice skating with Napoleon Dynamite.
But, that is actually only one sort of part of the story. Harley, fuck's sake. Walks.
I give up. I'm not even going to write it.
The dream's over. The dream's over. Okay, the dream's over. I give up on this thing. Now that you told me that it's already done. No, actually, I would liken it more to Rocky. It's very, very Rocky-ish.
Right.
But just going into that wrestling world, into that independent scene, the colourful characters, the kind of people, and also, why do you do something? And this is, it's a greater question, and it's obviously a question that I pose to myself all the time, but it's like, why do you do something that, like a sort of an art thing that is not very well respected, is not, is most likely not going to bring you fame and fortune, and is really fucking difficult and time consuming. Like, what compels people to sort of keep going forward when they know all these things? And so that is kind of what I'd be exploring there. So that's my number 1 goal, was to do that, and that's still my number 1 goal.
Did you watch Wilbur?
I did.
Was that?
I enjoyed it.
What was that good?
Yeah, I mean,
is that more of a doco style?
That is more of a doco.
So what's that called?
Wilberforce, The King in the Ring.
Yeah, and it's a New Zealand wrestling documentary.
Hour-long documentary about this guy Wilbur, who is now known as Dr. Feelgood, the wrestler Dr. Feelgood.
So you know him in real life?
I actually introed him, so he wrestled for IPW at the Dunedin Armageddon.
Yeah.
So I just introed his match and did the announcing for...
Is he a good wrestler?
He is a good wrestler. Yeah, absolutely. And it's basically about his weight loss journey, because he was getting pretty obese, and and how he combated that, what he did to do that, how that affected his sort of life, and really interesting stuff. And also, he's a super funny guy, really nice, great character. So a lot of very funny interactions with him, just because he's so funny, all the time, and just has a great sense of humor. So I highly recommend that. You can watch it streaming online for free through Maori TV, I think. Don't know if we can find a link, but we could probably find a link. We could try and find a link. It might be down along...
Well, they've got a Facebook page as well.
But yeah, so
send them that way. Wilbur.
Highly recommend watching that. I really enjoyed that documentary. But my second goal is obviously to main event in IPW. So that is to be like, the thing about, championships is, you don't win a championship. They're given to you because the storyline dictates it.
Oh, that's not kayfabe, mate.
Kayfabe.
That's not kayfabe, mate.
But, like this whole idea that I'm the best, so I get the championship. It doesn't really work like that. You could be the best and never be the champion. So, of course, I'd love to be champion, and certainly that's a goal, but really what I want to do is main event in IPW and have some classic wrestling matches there. That's what that's one of my sort of a bit further along goals. And then the furthest along goal is a 10-year career. So, 10 years. Can I last? The likelihood, very low. But that would be my goal, is if I'm looking to wrap it up around 43, 44 after a decade of wrestling. That would be, longevity is one of my goals.
Yeah.
But, to be honest, the odds are very much against me on that one due to my age and also just due to the reality of wrestling is sort of like people get injured permanently.
Just one little injury could be enough to kind of just put you off or niggle at you. You know?
Exactly. And if you kind of fuck up your shoulder's just fucked. There's lots of injuries that are easy to get that are hard to repair that would then sort of prevent that from happening. So that is those are my sort of three.
Right. Okay. Fair goals.
But let's make this movie first.
Well, I would say that one of the great things about the wrestling is that it is still industry related, which is why I think it's good that you're doing it, is that it's still industry related as far as I'm concerned, because it's still performance, still
absolutely.
Performance, it's still all that stuff, it's still you're still meeting people and you're still telling them about Pigville. And the more people that know you through wrestling, through the better you're doing, the more people that know you through wrestling, the more people that are going to know you know Pigville through you.
And if your favorite wrestler says, "Hey, buy these T-shirts," you may just do that. In fact, I was very alarmed after my first match. To some kids waited round after the show to talk to me. And I just had a short 5-minute match where I lost, and it wasn't particularly impressive at all. But clearly for them, that character had resonated with them. And they were into it and they wanted to have a chat. And I was really shocked by that. I was very alarmed by that, but it was very cool as well. That's what's going on there.
Cool. Good.
Is it time for one of my topics?
Oh, if you want.
Well, look, we better quickly do who's dead this week.
Bill, what happened? Ted? We're dead, dude. No way. This way.
And that is one of the most legendary, one of the sort of most influential, but not necessarily seen as such in terms of the money they made or their success, filmmakers. George Romero. You know who that is, Harley?
George R.R. Romero. Yep, I'm familiar with his work. It's a shame that
he'll never complete.
He was quite overweight, and it's a shame he's never going to finish those last 2 books. But rest his soul. With the White Walkers. He invented White Walkers.
And that was very influential.
He invented White Walkers.
Well, because there'd be no TV show.
Yeah.
And then without that TV show, no one would have anything to fucking watch and talk about on Facebook.
So, rest his soul.
No, obviously we're talking about George Romero, the director and inventor of zombie movies. And, he did Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Land of the Dead, Survival of the Dead, Diary of the Dead, maybe one more Dead. Anyway, the first three are seen as kind of like the seminal trilogy.
Living of the Dead.
that changed, everything. And I can absolutely say there's a direct correlation to our lives, yours and ours both, through him. Because without him, like before him, there was no zombies. There was
cinema zombies.
There was voodoo zombies. But there was no zombies. There was no this idea of a zombie that just keeps going unless you shoot it in the head. There wasn't this idea of a zombie.
Nobody knew the zombie rules.
If a zombie bites you, you become a zombie eventually. None of that stuff existed. There was nothing. No zombies. Think of a world without zombies now. It's almost unfathomable. He fucking created that. That was him. That was those first three movies. And they evolved a little bit over those three movies, but he is responsible. So all the shit that you like, fucking Walking Dead, if you like it, still.
28 Days Later, I liked that.
28 Days Later.
Rick,
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead. I Survived the Zombie Holocaust.
Well, yeah, that's what I was kind of getting to. But like every single thing that if you enjoyed any of those, there'd be none of that without him. And I wonder what our career would have been and what the fuck we'd be doing right now if he hadn't come along.
Our very first film was a zombie film.
And also,
it's called Superstition Bites. And I've got exciting news for the Patreon people that support us on Patreon. I have found a VHS tape of our very first film, Superstition Bites. It's at Nick Larson's house. He is a good old friend of ours who helped us make Superstition Bites and various other films. And he's a good man, and he had all this time he had Superstition Bites on VHS, and so I asked him to post it up to me. He's going to post it up, and I'm going to get it digitized. I can get it digitized on the North Shore for something like $50, which is a lot, but I'm going to do it anyway for the Patreon supporters. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload that as Patreon only content for now at least. And so if you guys want to see that, you got to make sure you're a Patreon supporter. Okay, so get along. Patreon.com and search Pigville. We get $68 a month at the moment, and that's fucking awesome. And you give us $1, you can watch our first film ever.
Well, yeah, and
it's not ready just yet, but it's coming.
So without him, there'd also be no Resident Evil, and Resident Evil directly inspired us to kind of go back to those zombie movies and then forward on to I Survived the Zombie Holocaust. And talking hypotheticals, Harley, what the fuck would have been our first film, and would we have made it?
Well, would we have if we had,
by now?
Let's go back to Superstition Bites. Would we even started filmmaking? Because Superstition Bites was a zombie film set in a graveyard.
Yeah.
Now, would we have even began filmmaking had you not wanted to make a zombie film set in a graveyard?
And all of this is sort of directly through his influence. So he was just an iconic dude, and one of those.
What did he die of?
Lung cancer.
Was he a smoker?
Long term, smoker for like 50 years or longer. But he was also like a sort of a man after our own hearts, in that he was an independent filmmaker. His first film was an independent film. He worked outside of the studio system for like a lot of his career, and he just seemed like an awesome guy. Made some great films, and his influence on us, but also just on, I guess, pop culture cannot be underestimated. There's so much that he's given, and so it's very sad. And he's one of those people that you always go, fuck, I really hope I get to meet that guy one day and just shake his hand and say, you're the man, and you inspired me. And unfortunately, won't have that opportunity.
Johnny.
You're still afraid.
Stop it now, I mean it.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Stop it! You're ignorant.
They're coming for you, Barbara.
Stop it! You're acting like a child.
They're coming for you. Look, there comes one of them now.
But the best thing that you can do to honor the man is go and see his films. Of course, the first trilogy of the Dead, I highly recommend, but also I'm going to throw a couple more out there because, we probably all seen those, right?
Well, I've seen bits and pieces of some of them. I remember a zombie getting its head chopped off with a helicopter blades.
That's right. That's from Dawn of the Dead.
I recall that. I recall another one, or possibly the same one, where they go into a mall.
That's the same one.
Is Dawn of the Dead?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe I've just seen Dawn of the Dead. But I also saw the remake.
Yeah.
Which I also liked. Well,
it's not bad. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
They're after us. They know we're still in here. They're after the place. They don't know why. They just remember. Remember that they want to be in here.
What the hell are they?
They're us, that's all. There's no more room in hell. What? It's something my granddaddy used to tell us. You know Macumba? Voodoo. Granddad was a priest in Trinidad. He used to tell us, when there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
And that's the thing. But so obviously we're assuming that you've probably seen that. So if you want to sort of delve a little bit deeper into, because he made a lot of films, I would highly recommend Monkey Shines, which is about a guy who gets paralyzed and then gets a hyper-intelligent helper monkey to help him around the house. And it's really fucking interesting, and it's really good. And the other thing about it is, there's no CGI back. This is a film made in the 80s. There's no CGI back then. The monkey has to look like he's done every single fucking thing in this film, which is even more exceptional if you watch it. So it's a real interesting film. Like, it's not perfect, but it's definitely worth sort of digging out. It's really compelling, and also paints quite an interesting picture of someone with a disability, someone who was super active and has been disabled. And, obviously it takes some darker turns. I don't want to spoil anything, but highly recommend that. Monkey Shines. The other one is The Dark Half, which is actually an adaptation of a Stephen King novel, which is basically about a guy who starts writing, and he has sort of a pen name, and he's this horror writer. But then this other identity sort of comes to life, and then they sort of have this sort of thing of like, well, who is doing it? Is it him? Is it this thing that he's created? Can your stories come alive? And it's pretty fucking interesting as well. Again, not perfect, but really pretty compelling stuff. I think he's originally born with some kind of brain abnormality, like he was going to be a twin, but that didn't happen, and the twin died and never split off, but he's not a Siamese twin or anything. Really interesting shit.
What year was that released?
Dark Half. Again, that's an 80s film. That was kind of in his...
80s?
Yeah.
Ooh.
In the 1980s.
No,
I think you'd like that one.
Yeah, I'll wait for the remake.
I think you'd like that one. And also, finally, which you may also be familiar with, but I should put it out there, is Creepshow, which is like an anthology horror series, just a great kind of pulpy, those short horror like novellas that you'd read. This is that as a movie, and there's some great ones in there, and it's a lot of fun and a lot of cool stuff. So highly recommend that. And just also one other person did die this week, Harley, so we should probably just quickly mention him, but I'll make it really short. Martin Landau. Do you know who that is?
No idea. No, don't even have anything witty to say.
Can't even
think of a witty name to mistake him for.
Yeah, you can't even think of a pun.
The closest I got to was Martin Henderson.
Yeah, that's way off. Martin Landau, he was an old actor, but still working sort of right up to the day he died. And you wouldn't necessarily know him.
What's his name?
Martin Landau.
Martin Landau.
But you would know him from movies. So he's in Ed Wood. He's one of the old agents in Entourage. And like he just pops up in a million things. But his best film, certainly that I've come across, and he's been working, and I think I just have a huge amount of respect for someone that has essentially been working for 60 years, as a successful actor.
So what's the thing that I might have? What's his most famous thing that I might know him for?
His best role, which you haven't 100% haven't seen him in, but you should seek this film out because it's good, is in Woody Allen's Crimes and Misdemeanors, which is all about to murder his wife and then cover it up.
Oh.
And he plays the lead in that, and he I think was nominated for an Oscar. He was nominated for an Oscar, and it's just a phenomenal movie. It's one of Woody Allen's best movies, and again, you might not have seen it. Worth digging up and checking out. Really good stuff. So that wraps up my Who's Dead this week.
Rest in peace, Martin Henderson.
Rest in peace, Martin Landau. And a big sign off. We're very sad for George. I'm pretty cut up about that. That was a moment of silence.
Impromptu. So I saw a couple of movies.
Yeah? What did you see?
I saw...
Harley's movie reviews.
I saw Lights Out, a horror film about a ghosty shadow that can only hurt you when the lights are out. And it actually wasn't that bad. I actually was kind of okay with it. It's not the type of film I normally watch, apart from if I'm at a horror festival or something like that. I don't generally go out of my way to see these types of, monster horrors. But it was actually pretty good. And the other one I watched was Dirty Grandpa. Which was pretty ridiculous, but I did enjoy it. And
if you ever
well, surprisingly, I enjoyed it. Like, I didn't really think I would. Well, it's one of those ones where you're kind of like, it's fucking silly, and you're like, this is so dumb, and yet you still watch it the whole way through, and I was never bored, Yeah. I was never bored, but it was dumb the whole way. But to be honest, I mean, I was watching these with Angie, so it could have just been the company I was keeping that was putting me in such a good mood.
Well, look, if you ever want to do a Robert De Niro double feature, watch Raging Bull, and then straight after, watch Dirty Grandpa. Just watch the juxtaposition there.
I thought he was pretty good in it, all things considered.
Well, look, he's good in a lot of things. It's just unfortunate sometimes that he's got bills to pay. But what was the other one? Oh, Lights Out. Well, we did actually mention Lights Out a long time ago on the podcast because it's based...
I finally got caught up a year later.
Yeah, it's based on a sort of like 1 or 2 minute short horror film done by the same director. And this is the great thing. This is the internet in full effect here. This is something really working. It's like, essentially, there was this guy, and he was more of a visual effects guy than anything, but he did this short, and it was a very short. It's called Lights Out, which essentially dealt with the same thing, which is kind of a shadow monster that if you turn the lights out, he'll get you.
Yeah.
If the lights are on, you're safe. So, it was all really a very simple concept, and I think it was done on a budget of like a couple of $100. And basically, it was very successful. It won a bunch of awards at whatever it was entered into festival-wise, but then also it got like millions and millions of views on YouTube. Then I think Blumhouse, which is like the sort of the premier horror production company in America, reached out, they made a deal, and he ended up directing a fucking feature film out of it.
Oh, good.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just waiting for that to happen with us, but we have to put no caller ID on
the internet.
Yeah,
well, we got to wait until the sales agent has not sold it.
Well, they're succeeding there.
Yeah, they are.
Well, so far.
Yeah, so far. Yeah, we haven't heard anything yet.
So far, they're succeeding there.
Now, the other thing I watched, no spoilers, I won't be delving deep at all, is Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 1. No spoilers. I'm not going to really say anything about it. I just wanted to say that I watched it.
Can you give me this one spoiler?
Whoa.
Does Cersei get naked?
No. I will give you that spoiler. And
disappointing.
I'm sorry to tell the 5150 that Cersei Lannister does not get naked.
Very disappointed.
Strange that he didn't want Daenerys Targaryen to get naked. He wanted Cersei Lannister.
I'm in my 30s now. I've got a...
Cersei Lannister... To be honest, I kind of like... I'm not that big on Daenerys anyway, so I'm probably more,
she's just
Cersei.
Too much of a, I'm the queen.
Yeah.
I'm the queen, and you shall do what I say, but free all the slaves. But do what I say, but free all the slaves. So there's a lot of contradictions there.
Yeah. Yeah, obey me without question.
Yeah.
But
what about her old poor creeper bodyguard guy?
Yeah,
what's his name?
Now he's one of the only ones I can't remember.
Right.
Jorah Mormont.
Right. Jorah.
Yeah, Jorah Mormont. Now, we're not talking about the episode 7.
No.
Guy hasn't seen.
No, I haven't seen it.
Guy hasn't seen it. He's going to see it.
I
he
will
hasn't
see
seen
it.
it.
You know,
so don't worry. There's no spoilers, guys, because I'm not going to ruin anything for Guy. But yeah. But anyway.
Unfortunately, I'll have to go back to episode 1 of Game of Thrones season 1 to get my whack off to Cersei, you know, when she sleeps with her brother. So unfortunately I have to go all the way back to that.
A deep-seated fantasy.
Start again, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
You really bought into that, really.
Yeah, I guess I did. To be fair, they are twins.
Okay.
I don't have any twins.
Right, okay. Okay.
Phew, feel like I dodged a bullet there.
Got out of that one, guy. Now, look.
Well, you took it to a way sick level. I was just implying that I was sick.
Yeah, but you should have known I would.
But then you really took it there.
I just really pointed out what you said. But
you really took it another level deeper.
Now, look.
Because I could have just been,
Look. I just wanted to say about Game of Thrones that I really enjoyed it, and that if the quality is this high for the rest of the season, then I'll be a happy guy.
Also,
because I really enjoyed it.
Let's be real. Game of Thrones has some real peaks and valleys.
It does have some valleys.
We've all fucking jumped on board the Game of Thrones bandwagon at this point.
The Sparrows, the religious guys.
Jesus Christ, would they ever shut the fuck up?
They were on for far too long. I was like, fucking, the head sparrow, get rid of the head sparrow. Because, like...
Somebody kill this guy.
Yeah.
Because, at least Joffrey was a really entertaining guy to want to watch, to hate.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't want to... But I love watching his dastardliness.
Yeah.
Whereas that what was that guy's name?
The High Sparrow. The High Sparrow.
That was his name.
Well,
High
that's what they referred to him as. Yeah, pretty sure that's
all
the High
he
Sparrow.
did is waffle on shit.
Fucking religious shit.
Walking around in a fucking knapsack. Just absolute bullshit.
Now, speaking of this Game of Thrones, okay.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. I just want to ask, have you heard anything about a cameo in Game of Thrones?
I have. We should talk about that.
What did you hear?
Well, unfortunately...
Obviously, the internet's blowing up with it.
Yeah.
So presumably everybody knows.
Yeah, we can probably talk about this.
That there is a cameo appearance...
By a certain
ginger pop star.
Ginger-headed pop star.
By the name of Ed Sheeran.
Yeah. Well, all I heard is that he's in the army, someone's army,
yeah,
and that everyone hated it,
right?
Because it was too obvious. But he's also been the star of like the Bastard Executioner, hadn't he?
I don't know.
Now I could be confusing it with something completely different, but I thought his initial acting role was like the lead in this Bastard Executioner TV series, which was a Game of Thrones style series that was kind of shitty, but it was made by the same guy that did that biker one. The one that you watched a fair bit of.
It's called
Pretty Boy Lead Biker the Gang.
Yeah,
Pretty Boy with long hair
it's got Marge from
Piggy.
Sorry, yeah, Piggy. Piggy from.
We'll call it Pretty Boy.
Married with Children.
Pretty Boy Biker.
Sons of Anarchy.
Pretty Boy Biker.
Sons of Anarchy. That's what it's called.
And Piggy from Married with Children.
Okay. So he made Sons of Anarchy, and he also made this other.
No, he wasn't in that, but he was in. It was the same guy that did that show. Did this Bastard Executioner, and Ed Sheeran.
And you think Ed Sheeran was in there?
Was one of the main people in that, and now he's in this.
Well, look, the internet seems to be losing its shit, saying that it's this horrible thing and blah 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 blah. But it's like, honestly, I've seen the first episode twice, and he was fine. He was good. There was absolutely nothing wrong with him. I wouldn't have had any issue with him whatsoever if I didn't know that it was him. You know, it was only the only problem was I recognized him, so it was distracting kind of thing. But 10 years from now, when nobody knows who's the fuck Ed Sheeran, like there's not going to be a problem with the scene. The scene was a good scene, and he was good in it, and like good on him. You know, like he's a performer, so it's just natural that he would move into acting as well. And if he loves the show and he's got the ability to pull the strings, then why the fuck not like get in there? You know, tell you what I'm fucking worried about. I'm worried about Harry Styles in Dunkirk.
Apparently he's really good.
That's what I heard too, but I'm just a bit more worried about that. But I did hear that he is very good in Dunkirk. That comes out tomorrow as we're recording this, and I'll be trotting along.
I'll
be marching along.
You'll be there at the 11 a.m. fucking in your seat, dick out, ready to fucking whack it for fucking 109 minutes straight. That's what you'll be doing.
I will be watching Dunkirk with fervour.
Pants down, dick out, loving it.
Yeah.
No, well, I'll watch it too. But I'll probably try and go to a different session.
Now, I also got I went on the radio the other day to talk about Neil deGrasse Tyson. I don't know if I told you that. And
I don't think you told me you went on the radio.
Yeah, I went on BFM to talk about meeting Neil deGrasse Tyson. I called them up because they were looking for people to call in and talk about it. And so I called up. I got put onto it by Tyler, the website creator, who's creating a website for us. He's a radio dude, and he put me onto it. He told me, "I'll give these guys a call. They want to see people that spoke to Neil deGrasse Tyson." So I called him up, had a chat about it, and I got 2 tickets to The Journey, which is some sort of Irish film or something.
Oh yeah,
have you heard of it? Obviously not.
No, but right. Oh yeah, I'm a bit out of the loop.
It just came out this Thursday. It's called The Journey, and it's I believe it's an Irish film, and so I'll be going along to see that, probably with you, maybe.
Could be.
Yeah,
it could be. What else? What else has been going on?
Well, look, I think actually we're going to wrap it up because it's 1:45 a.m. and I've got work in the morning earlier than I'd like, and my work is making me work 8 hours every day now.
And it's really
draining my
draining you. It's finding it really hard to get stuff done.
So I've got an early start tomorrow. Crack of dawn. I've got to be at work at 10:30. No, 10. I've got to be at work at 10. Crack of dawn.
Gotta get your sleep.
I'll have my alarm set. Sparrow fart 9 a.m. Now before we go, big shout out to Jeremy Howson. A skateboard that he painted arrived today. I haven't seen it yet. Did you?
Well, I haven't seen it.
Well, you didn't notice the large box out in the hallway that was addressed to Guy Pigden, and it's got...
Oh, that was something else.
Oh, because Jeremy said he had sent it, and I just assumed that's what it was.
No, that's some...
Because it looked like a skateboard.
New camera gear. It's just some new lighting, light stands.
Oh, good. Okay, well, shout out to Jeremy Howson anyway, just because he's a good cunt.
Well, and presumably the skateboard is coming at some point. Yeah, skateboard's
coming, and also it's got some homebrew in it.
Oh, damn.
That's for me. But I'll share it with you. We can drink it on the podcast next month.
I can probably allow myself one homebrew.
Well, it's a honey ginger beer that he's homebrewed himself. Lube, he calls it. I don't know if he does call it lube, to be honest, but that's what I'm pitching. And so, yeah, honey ginger ginger beer is coming our way, apparently, courtesy of Jeremy Howson, the Sifty 150 listener. So thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Legend.
Appreciate that, man.
Cool. So if you guys want to support us, you know the deal. Go facebook.com/Guy and Harley. Hit like, share some stuff. Go to Pigville. Go to YouTube, search Pigville. Go and subscribe to the Guy and Harley podcast YouTube channel, which is the new one I've just set up. I really need to get those subscribers and views and all that stuff crack-a-lackin'. Patreon. Go along to patreon.com and search for Pigville. It's the most effective way to support us because that's we get $68 a month at the moment, every single month, and that is by far the most consistent and sort of best earning we have out of this filmmaking business. So if you really want to support us and keep this podcast coming and keep all this other stuff alive, go along to Patreon and flick us $1, and in return you will get occasional secret videos such as Superstition Bites when it comes out soon after I get it digitized. So yeah. Get along. You don't want to miss that, guys. You don't want to fucking miss that.
Our very first film.
We were 16 and we shot it in the graveyard after Guy came up with the idea when we were walking home from detention after a daring political stunt, which we don't recall.
Which we don't really remember.
But we both had an hour of after-school detention, and we walked through this creepy old graveyard on the way to town afterwards, and all the other kids had gone because it was an hour later. So normally there's heaps of people around, but at this hour it was just us walking through there. And Guy was like, "This would be a cool place." He was watching Dawson's Creek at the time, and he's all inspired by boning Chase. What's her name? Katie. Well, no, that's her. What's her character name?
Oh, Joey.
Joey, yeah. By boning Joey. He was all inspired by boning Joey, and so he thought he'd become a filmmaker like Dawson.
Still have all 6 DVDs. Six seasons on DVD of Dawson's Creek.
Still watches them
Looking
religiously.
forward to revisiting the creek at some point.
And so, yes, anyway, he said this would be a good place to make a zombie movie. And I was like, no, real original, Guy. A zombie movie in a graveyard.
Nice one, Guy. Why don't you rip off Ramiro even more?
You dick. We were such dicks as well to each other. The way we all spoke to each other, we go, no, you rude cunt, you faggot. We used to use like so many homophobic slurs against one another.
Yeah.
God, we were obnoxious.
We were really obnoxious. And, sometimes when I hang out with younger people, I'm sort of because I take young people all the time in Uber.
Yeah.
So I'm driving 18-year-olds
Take them into the countryside. Fucking chop them up. Fucking bury them under the barn.
That's not a bad idea for a film.
Yeah.
Like a guy who only murders millennials because they're so fucking annoying.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, and he's an Uber driver too.
Oh, and he's an Uber driver.
Yeah, because there's a movie by David Wachs, who's he's the lead actor in it. He was looking after me at my Airbnb in Hollywood. I stayed at his place. He's a real top guy, and he is in a movie called Ride, RYDE, and I saw the trailer, but I haven't seen the film yet, and it looks really good, and it is about a serial, as far as I can see from the trailer, it's about a serial killer who drives people around using an app called Ride.
Good stuff. It sounds good. I'm looking forward to that.
The trailer's good. The trailer looked great, actually. I should really track it down. Share it on the Guy and Harley Facebook page.
Fuck, I lost my train of thought now.
Yeah, sorry.
Can't remember when you hijacked that.
You said that you after chopping up the millennials, you're driving around in the car with them and you realise how obnoxious they are.
Well, that's right. You go, man, you guys are fucking dicks.
Yeah.
and also you just like, and all your conversations are so
vapid,
trivial, and just dumb.
Yeah.
Is this what you think about every fucking day of your life? Yeah. And then you go, I was never like that. But then, of course, you cast your mind back and you're like, I was exactly like that.
Yeah, definitely.
No. I mean, I think we mentioned on the podcast while too was like I stumbled across some old emails that we were exchanging.
Yeah.
This wasn't even...
I'm too ashamed to even go back and delve into all that stuff.
This is like 2021, 22.
Yeah.
Maybe 24. Anyway, and I was just reading how we were talking. I was like, fuck, we were cocks. Just such cocks. Just terrible.
Yeah.
Well,
next time
if you've heard us on the podcast...
You think we're bad now.
Yeah,
Imagine
exactly.
That's 10 years ago.
That's what I'm saying, man. You think we're bad now? You've heard this podcast. You think we're bad now, guys. Just imagine that magnified by like 100?
100 orders of assholeness.
And that is who we were as people. Ugh. Gives me... But anyway, but if you do want to weigh in, you should absolutely weigh in. Did I take that Facebook joke too far? Is Harley being too pretentious about his Facebook persona? Weigh in.
It's not pretentious. It's about professionalism. It's about the fact that in 2 days we have this meeting, which we didn't actually talk about yet. We have this meeting for our web series, which we're potentially getting commissioned to create a horror web series. It's quite a big opportunity for us. 2 days from now. Now I got this. I got these meetings through Facebook. Through Facebook, and so I don't want these people who are still on my Facebook to be thinking that I'm a marijuana addict who has a problem and needs to call the marijuana helpline, and his best friend is concerned for him. His best friend's concerned for his help. #addiction. #intervention.
#intervention.
It's about professionalism. Okay, so I don't mind sharing things and saying I'm 420 friendly and that stuff, but there's no pictures of me smoking weed.
isn't a picture of you smoking weed.
No, but there's nothing like overt. Like I remember one time I told you off because I wanted to rip a bong on the podcast one time, and you were like, Harley's ripping a bong, fucking narc. and so I had to. It was like, and I had a fight with you. I was like, I think it was episode 18 maybe.
Oh, right.
And I was like, what are you doing now? I can't. You got to tell. It's like, okay, I've got a plan, all right, and it doesn't involve the overt embracing of the weed thing, because I obviously smoke weed, okay, I like it, but I don't want to be I don't want that to be a defining feature of people. I don't want people to go to my Facebook and go like, check out this funny stoner, you know what I mean? I don't want to be associated with that.
One time I posted something similarly offensive on my girlfriend's page, and she took it
recidivist.
down.
Fucking recidivist Guy Pigden.
And she took it down, and I was like, why did you take that down? Like, it was just some dumb thing. And she was like, yeah, it just didn't really fit with my Facebook persona. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Like, what do you mean your Facebook? You're you! Your Facebook's you!
Yeah,
and
but you don't tell everybody all your worst vices, your deepest, darkest vices. This is just for the Sifty 150.
Yeah. Well, no, I just thought it was a bit ridiculous, and I think Harley's detagging was also, but...
All I did was detag. I didn't delete it. I didn't remove it from Facebook. I didn't even message Guy and say, hey, take that down. I just deleted... I just removed the tag.
A droll reply.
Well, I couldn't really think of anything to say. At least I'm not a workaholic. So I thought about it.
Brilliant.
It's all that came to me.
Brilliant.
So yeah. So anyway, all I did was detag it, and it's still up and all that stuff. It's just not. It's just
redundant.
It's just not on my page. Yeah. It's just not on my showing up on my page.
Yeah.
But I've got like 500 mutual friends with Guy, so the damage is done. All of those industry professionals that are mutual friends of ours, the damage is done. They all are like, haha, Harley is a marijuana addict. And I don't want to work with him. He's going to be forgetting his fucking lines. I'm not going to cast him because he'll be forgetting his lines because he's a stoner who needs help and his friend's concerned for him. So, thanks, Guy.
Was it too serious? Was it just fine? So you decide.
Guy Pigden is his name if you want to go look directly. Now, so thank you very much for listening. We really need to go now, and we will see you next week.
See you later.
You've been listening to the Guy and Harley podcast, proudly brought to you by Pigville Productions.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.